What's up, y'all? It's your girl Nicole Wray, and you know I got soul.
Alright, Nicole, so to start out, can you kind of talk about this journey you've been on with Lady the Band and how it's kind of taken you and where you've been?
Wow, Lady the Band just was a very organic project that just came about. Actually, I was in New York about, I want to say now, going on 3 years ago. I was up here doing some music with Damon Dash and his little enterprise at the time. They had a lot of things going on, and I was down here working on a project, and I met Terry Walker from London, and she and I clicked. She was working over there doing some music and I think working on a film at the time, and we just clicked like sisters. We started hanging out, eating food together, just getting to know one another, and we started performing together in New York and doing shows together, like in the Village and in the city and different places. And she was like, you know what, I want you to meet my guys. And I was like, who are your guys? And she told me about Truth and Soul. And I think we had a show and Truth and Soul came out to see us perform. And I think from that moment, it was like, we love you guys. How do you guys feel about doing a girl group? And I was like, at the time, I was kind of still focused on my own solo project, and so was Terry. She was focused on her solo project, and we was like, let's just see how this feels. We went over to the studio, and they played us a couple of tracks, and we just was having fun. They had some whiskey, and we were just hanging out in Brooklyn, New York, and Williamsburg. And I mean, before you know it, we had I want to say like 8 songs done, written. The expressions was there. We were just hanging out, vibing. And songs were getting done, and everybody was getting excited. Everybody was getting so excited. And so Terry and I, we looked at each other. We was like, oh my goodness, we have something. We have something. So we kind of put our little projects on hold, our solo projects on hold for a while, just to see how this thing was gonna go. We did a little situation with Truth and Soul Records, and we put the album out, and we began to tour with Lee Fields. Shout out to Lee Fields. He's amazing. He is so amazing. I have stories for days for Lee Fields. Lee Fields, I was in the car with one of my girlfriends in New York, and I heard this song, and it sounded like it was from the 60s. And I was like, who? It made me cry because my cousin had just passed away, and he was like 19 years old. And his voice just captured me, and we were driving all the way upstate, and I was like, who is this? What year was this made? She was like, last year. I was like, get out here. And never knowing that I was going to meet Truth and Soul. Before I met Truth and Soul, they asked me to work on his project, Faithful Man album, and I wrote a couple of songs on an album. And we toured with Lee Fields, Terry and I. We opened up, we did an international tour overseas, we went everywhere. And it was beautiful. And then we were shortly interrupted, and Terry went back to doing her thing. Like I try to explain to people, we both were solo artists. Everybody knows Nicole Wray. I started out with Missy and Timberland. 1998, Make It Hot. I came in the game, Virginia. I was a baby, still wet behind the ears, and Terry was overseas rocking out, doing her thing at the same time. And we shared this story because she was like, I never knew we knew some of the same people. We never knew we was gonna collide and meet each other and be able to do an album together. So even though we're not doing an album now, I'm thankful and I'm blessed to have met Terry and to have been able to put this project together with Terry and to get these beautiful songs and the passion and the energy and all of the beautiful stories that we both shared together in the industry, because we both struggle ups and downs, with management, labels, just family. We just struggle because we're very passionate with our music. And in this game, it's you're here today, gone tomorrow. Not like death, but just as far as your career, it's over, And so us meeting each other, we had so much to share. We had a bond, and it was super organic. And then she's doing her own thing now. I stayed on to stay with Lady. I loved it. And I couldn't let it go. I was like, I just fell in love with it, and I was like, I'm gonna put my own project on hold, and I'm gonna work on this, and I do a lot of songwriting too. So I'm all over the place. I rap, I sing soul music. I'm writing a little children's book, I'm doing so much, I'm writing for other artists, and I just felt like, and once I got on that stage and I sang these songs and I was able to open up for Lee Fields, I was like, this is what I want to do. I think this is what I always wanted to do at an early age, but I was so young and I wasn't writing back then, so yeah. That was the start of Truth and Soul.
This sound you have with Lady, you know, throwback soulful sound is different than what people remember what you came out with early on and what you built up over the years, some of the hip hop collaborations. Totally different thing. How did you transition into it?
You know what? Shout out to Missy Elliott. I will say that. I have been singing loud and strong and powerful since I was 8 years old. When I got with Missy, she tamed me, my vocals, because I was like all over the place. I was already soul. I mean, I was raised in church. You know, my dad sang in church, my grandmother sang in church, my great-grandmother sang in church. All I know is church. You know, I was like, no, Lord, church. It's in my heart. It's in my heart. But you know, I mean, I kind of got lost with the question.
No, so the sound, how did you transition into this?
Honestly, I never really transitioned. It was always in me. I would just, like I said, shout out to Missy. She would say, Nicole, this isn't the song for that. Screaming and yelling and that. Tone it down. But it was always there. I always had it. I just, you know, I was finding my voice and finding myself as an artist. And I think once the whole situation with Missy Elliott and we kind of like separated, and I found my voice. And I began to sing what was already there in my heart and built it out. And I would write, because I wasn't writing in the beginning with Missy Elliott. I was just, you know, I was like a little protege, as you say. I was young. I was like a baby. You know, I was still in high school. And I basically just found my voice and my inner self and my inner soul. And when I met Truth and Soul, they had the music, the soundtrack to my life. They had the soundtrack music to my life, like everything that I've been through. Like, you know, coming in the game with my mom and both of us being wet in the ears and me being in high school, missing class and going on the road to tour with Aaliyah and Genuine and Timberland. I mean, I loved what I did, and I just kind of found my voice and my soul.
Right.
And Truth and Soul brought that soundtrack music so I could write that and sing from my heart with Truth and Soul's production.
So you've had one successful album with Lady. Now, are you planning to do another one? Or are you planning to do a solo album? What's next for you?
Yes, we are. We are actually in the demo stages of the album. It's sounding really, really good. We may be traveling outside of the country to finish up the vocals and stuff. It's working its way. It's coming along. It's sounding really good. It's more kind of colorful this time.
Right.
I know the first album with Terry and I was like really from the heart. And we didn't think about it. Like I said, it was organic. We didn't really have time to think about what we were gonna write. The guys were in the room, we were drinking whiskey, we was having a good time, and lyrics was just flowing. You know, but you know, this album is it's kind of like more personal, it's more fun. I mean, we're still gonna have those love stories and stuff like that, but it's really, you know, we're gonna talk about the struggle. You know, me, you know, and people, I really want to be able to reach out and give those inner hands and be relatable to people that's living everyday life. That's what I want to do.
It's awesome. Now, do you have plans in the future? Because I asked, you know, my readers who has questions for Nicole Wray, and they don't want to hear another soul album from you. Is that something you have in the cards? And will that sound be straight R&B or more of like what you're doing now?
It's gonna be probably R&B. I'm gonna give them what they want.
Okay.
I let them guide me, because without them, it wouldn't be any me. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be no me at all. I wouldn't even exist as an artist. You know, it wouldn't be no Lady. It wouldn't be Nicole Wray. I listen to my fans, and I thank God for social networking. Because when I first came out with Missy Elliott, it wasn't really that much social networking. It was just word of mouth. If the label liked you, they're gonna sign you. You go and do your thing, and you go on tour. But now it's so much going on. You got Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You got all these other things, SoundCloud. It's so easy for artists now, and then you got these reality shows, you know, that you can get on and be vocal and show your talent. You know, when I started, I was super young. I was like 15 when I met Missy Elliott, and she just grabbed me and was like, I got you. And my mom was like, make sure you take care of my daughter. You know, so the game has changed a whole lot. But I definitely will listen to my fans and give them what they want, because it's in me. I can do any type of music, anything, you know.
Off the camera, we were talking about Static and Aaliyah and memories of those two. You know, rest in peace to both. Talk about some of the memories you had with both of those.
Wow, I remember my mom living in this apartment in Virginia, and the neighborhood was called Brandon Square. And Missy came over because her mom lived in the same neighborhood, like across the street. And she came over and she got on the phone. She called some guys up, and they were from Derby City, Kentucky. And she said, I got this little girl sitting here, and she's amazing. And I'm going to let her sing on the phone for you. Static, talk to Nicole. And Nicole, sing for Static on the phone. And I would always sing SWV, that I Get So Weak song. And he was like, he heard me sing, he was like, say no more. I'm coming to Virginia, and we're going to work on your album. I wasn't writing, I was young, you know? And so he came in the studio, he had like so much swag. Like, you know, he had that swag, like all of them player. Is Black, Smokey, and Static. And they had Cheers to You song. They were working on their album too. And we were working in Virginia Beach in the studio. And Missy just sent me in the studio with him. My mom was in the studio because my mom was managing me at the time. And she would be in the studio with me. And I had a boyfriend at the time. And we were like so in love. And I was so young and stupid. And we had like an argument. And I was irritated in the studio. And Static was like, don't worry about it. Just tell him raise your frown. And he wrote that song, will you raise your frown? You don't have to worry, I won't let you down. I was like, oh my God. You know, hands down with Static. It's like he watched me as a young girl and was like I do now when I'm working with artists, because I write now too, thanks to Static. Like he opened up that portal for me because I didn't know I could do it. I just was singing songs that everybody else wrote for me, not knowing I had my own story. So he was basically watching me in my life and seeing my boyfriends and my mom, knowing I was in school and trying to juggle this career, boyfriend, you know, and he wrote those songs that was beautiful. It's like he studied me, and it's
awesome.
Awesome.
What do you remember about Aaliyah? You said you toured with her and
yeah, we toured. We did a Super Friends tour, and I think 1998, I think that's when it kicked off. Or 1999, we did a big Super Friends tour. We went everywhere. I think we started out in LA. But first, when I first met Aaliyah, we were shooting my video, Make It Hot. My first single off Make It Hot, the album. And everybody was there. I was so nervous. This was my first video. I mean, I went straight pulled me out of school to go shoot a video. All I ever seen is on TV. You know, I would see, you know, Toni Braxton, Mariah Carey, Mary J. Blige, Lauryn Hill with the Fugees, and finally it was my time. And I was nervous. I was so nervous. And where I come from, we're not nervous. But for some reason, the lights was on me, the camera was on me, I had a wardrobe, they were making clothes, and my mom was there. I think my mom might have made me nervous. I mean, I think everybody made me nervous. And Missy was like, Aaliyah's here. I was like, oh my God, Aaliyah's here. She said, go say something to Aaliyah. And Aaliyah was so sweet. She like hugged me and she wouldn't let me go. She was like, she said, oh, you're my sister. You are my sister. I'm here to support you. I love your music. I love your style. And from there, I would always see her, and we always, like, you know, would talk to each other, and we had like a cute little friendship.
That's awesome.
And then it was short-lived, you know.
Yeah. God
bless her soul. I mean, she was super talented, and I was thankful that all of those guys came to my video shoot because they were already established. Aaliyah was already established. I was just coming in the game, you know. We probably was the same age, but she was already more established, and I was like thankful that she came to my video shoot, and she showed me so much love.
That's awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
Last question for you. You know, since the Make It Hot album, you had a lot of material you had worked on over the years. Unfortunately, some of it never saw the light of day, some of it got shelved. But is there a song or some songs you could think of that you would have loved the fans to hear, something that sticks out to you at all? Oh yeah, I recorded this song that my favorite show right now on Netflix. I don't know if you heard of Netflix, but it's called, what is it called? Orange is the New Black. And they have the theme song is called, I think it's called Time or something like that. But I recorded a song when I was on Rockefeller Records called Time before this show. Like, because I know a lot of people in and out of jail, and they're like serving their time, but the way I did it, it was beautiful. It was like raunchy, but it was like really personal, and it was dedicated to the mothers, the fathers, the people that's dealing with people waiting for people to get out of jail. And then the show comes out years and years later. And I was like, I already recorded a song like that, but it never saw the light of day. And I'm thinking about doing like once we finish this album, I want to put out like a mixtape of like the old, you know how Nas did the Lost album, Lost Tapes? Yeah. I want to do that because I have so much music. Like I said, I started writing like right after like Make It Hot album. And I got so much music. I worked with some of everybody for real. I worked with Teddy Riley, Timbaland. I worked with, I mean, the list goes on. Scott Storch, when he was like super on his game. I mean, the list goes crazy. I mean, I worked with some of everybody. And I have those songs just sitting on my laptop.